road.
Hello everyone, my name is Coffee and welcome back to Some Killing Floor 2. Today I'm going to do some character profiling for all 16 characters, including Miss Foster, the only viable character. Basically, I'm going to be going over every single character, including Dar and Miss Foster, but all the rest of them. So, it's just going to give them basically the description of what they give us in game. So actually, let's just jump right into this. Very simple, with the very first character. Having no chest college, Albert was physically tough, tempered with his desire to help others. That tough, solid, no-nonsense approach was the perfect for his stint as an army chaplain, followed by 20 years working with a disaffected youth in South London, having spent his life trying to steer people away from the bad side and over to the good. Albert wasn't happy when his life's work was destroyed by a pack of raging monsters at tea time one afternoon. That afternoon, he quickly went from ministering to the dead and dying to bringing down the wrath of Albert on the head of all the evil abominations, and on any other parts he can reach. Tom Benner had obsessed about the heroics of the Middle Ages since he was a small boy. His fairly stellar career as a management consultant actually enabled his obsession to grow as he moved from the native Canada via Boston to England. He already had created his own army and took on the new persona as a reenactor in Old Merry Old England. This move concluded with the release of Chivalry, which enabled him to act out the fantasy to a degree that most definitely would not be safe for a reenactor. When the outbreak came, Tom climbed to his suit armor and went off to save fair maidens from monsters, for real. The fact that he refuses to take off his armor has led to some concerns that he is taking the whole medieval thing a touch too far. But who cares? Rob Bryan was the police constable from the age 17 until the day that he was called out to what seemed to be his superiors, to some half-witted anarchist riot. We all know it wasn't, but Bryan discovered that the hard way. Luckily, he was some old-fashioned London Bobby, but he had spent his enough time with the counter-terrorism work to be familiar with the blood range of firearms. Underneath that happy-go-lucky, jokey exterior, Bryan is as hard as nails. That toughness, along with the toughness of the Kevlar on his riot gear, is about what got him through the first few days. Now he's continuing to do his duty, serving the public, trying to stomp out this menace with any and every weapon that comes to hand. Once upon a time, Burrow got a call to suit up and handle a riot in London, but this time it wasn't a usual procedure of hippies, environmentalists, and hairy anarchists getting the rough end of Breyer's nightsack. Happily, his affinity of unsoliciting violence actually get him through the next few months before he had to abandon Bligany and move on to foreign fields. Now he could expand his good old-fashioned police methods beyond clipping errant teenagers upside of the head to controlling a horde of man-eating mutant monsters by shooting, burning, and blowing them up to smithereens. And his happy-go-lucky London Bobby persona helps him keep the moral of his team up or annoy the crap out of them. Foster wandered into day trading from a mediocre English private school vacation with the classic "You'll never amount to anything, Foster" ringing into his ears from a school's career officer. Not that Foster really cared, but bizarrely he found that day's trading suited him. He started to generate large sums of money and thoroughly enjoyed it. Not that he would admit to enjoying a job, obviously. He had the habit of verbally abusing authority figures. This led to Foster being seen as a clever, smart guy with a sardonic sense of humor and a great taste of closing cars, or a jumped-up little tool. You decide. Being a big guy in Sweden who enjoyed beers and being loud at bars, before the outbreak, Jagerhorn tended to fit everyone's idea that the modern-day Viking. But after the vaguely involved in the craziness that was the Great Nordic Biker War in the 1990s, he decided that insane violence directed at people was less fun, drinking plenty of beer and playing mediocre lead guitar for Metallica, his Metallica tribute band. Once the outbreak reached Scandinavia, on the other hand, insane violence became the order of the day, after all. Zeds vs. People, Not a Good Karma by Jagerhorn Standards, Big Swedish Viking vs. Zeds, bring it on! She would probably be assigned to the group of establishment called the Disaffected Youth, except that Anna largely didn't give enough of a crap about anything except traveling around Europe, indulging her passion for photographing, abandoned places and death metal bands. And now there isn't much establishment left, Ani cares even less. While there is some distinct lack of bands on tour, there is ever more abandoned places. And a sweet part about her current job is that she gets to make those places and make them look even more abandoned. You'll see, she discovers a new passion, blowing stuff up. Bill Manderson had a checkered career in the army. He wanted heroic soldiering against bold and evil enemies of Queen and country, but what he got was a bunch of dirty terrorists. He wanted a good shooting war, but what he got was leading his men to a series of stupid police actions in crappy parts of the world. So he quit. After a couple of worthless jobs, he woke up one morning. The apocalypse was going in the streets of London. Manderson, now a heroic soldier he wanted to be, led himself to local reserves barracks, tooled himself up, and started his own shooting war. It wasn't a war that he expected the people were trained for, but it worked. And he was bloody good at it. No one has ever really understood how Manderson rose through the ranks at all. Although some have suggested his richer and better-looking cousin, Captain Sir Richard Riggins, may have some influence, or perhaps his smarter brother, but as it always noted, he was a rough diamond, a man of a few polite words, and has some unnaturally calm demeanor in combat situations. Pretty much everyone reckons in his due to his lack of imagination, empathy, intelligence. Luckily, he directs his men diversely and always gets the job done, no matter how unsavory that job would appear to anyone with a good taste or decent manners.